Hi all, hope you're having a great conference, whether virtually or physically. I'm standing here with you in Copenhagen with Ambit Lager ULAG, a LoRa connected padlock, to share with you the lessons we learned since the idea was born 4 years ago and up till today. Ambit Lager is a startup, and as you all know, startups don't always follow a straight path to success. Likewise with Ambit Lager. So we've decided to share with you all the clever, but also the not so clever decisions we made along the way. And I think this presentation might be very interesting for you if you are a startup or if you are an existing company considering to make new business within this field. The presentation will be divided roughly in 4 parts. First, I'll share some background information and a little bit more about the product. Then some thoughts from the development stages and continuing to some thoughts regarding business as a startup. And eventually I'll tell a little more about where we are today. And of course, I should say, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to contact me. We're in a community, right? So let's share. Okay, so now background information. I mentioned startup a couple of times, but actually Ambit Lager started as a spin-out between 2 companies, Lolle and Nielsen and NB-IoT. Lolle and Nielsen is a design and engineering company with a wide portfolio of own projects and consultancy projects. Lolle and Nielsen has a background as mechanical engineering and no experience with wireless technologies before this project. NB-IoT is a company that provides Lager solutions for a wide range of B2B customers, and they have existed for more than 15 years and have many customers within this business. Back 4 years ago, NB-IoT had a real pain in that they weren't able to find a suitable solution for their customers. The need was essentially to provide a booking front end for users. It was to have a cloud platform for administrators to have a real-time overview of all your logs. And of course, it was the wireless physical log that you can remotely control and make sure who gets access and when they get access. And really, this is essentially what Ambit Lager is. We have our own cloud platform, we have front-end booking, and of course we have the physical log here, and it has 4 buttons, as you can see, and you can press a code on it, and if you press the correct code, the log will open, and you can at any time, of course, change that code whenever needed. Some thoughts regarding the development stages. Back when we started the project, we didn't even know that we should settle with LoRa. So we started to investigate various possibilities. We looked into many different possibilities, but settled with LoRa mainly because of 3 reasons. Of course, the big community. This is a huge help and has helped us so many times when we experienced some weird error that we couldn't understand. Also, since all our logs are clustered in one location, it just seemed to make more sense to have only a few gateways connected than compared to having all devices connected. Finally, we liked the idea that LoRa was open source. We do use the TTI network server, but the possibility to host on our own is nice. But in fact, I think none of our customers even know what a network server is. So for us, it makes so much more sense to focus on the cloud and the front end compared to maintaining a network server. After the concept was strong and solid and built, and we already settled for LoRa, time was right to find a partner for developing the electronics, because as mentioned, our background is mechanical engineering, so we need external partner for that. This is a really important decision that you should take your time to do. We did that, and you want a partner that has an open mindset to exploit possibilities that come up in the course of the development, but also you want a shared mindset about how to work. We teamed up with Grin, a company that you might know. They are also here at the conference. They are real nice. So if you haven't talked with them, go have a chat with them. And actually, they even got our lock at the Wall of Fame. So if you haven't seen that, check that out as well. The collaboration worked out great, and we're happy. But one important thing that you should remember if you work with external experts, you should take your time to understand the technology real thorough yourself, because we experienced so many times that the really clever and smart solution actually came about when we challenged the tech experts with our in-depth knowledge of our users and the use cases, combined with our understanding of the technology and what was actually possible. So that's important to remember. Now, one more thing, big consideration when we start early on in the development stages, for us at least, was whether to aim for firmware over-the-air updates or not. We decided not to, and we managed. I think a lot has happened in the last 4 years in that area, and you should be careful to make the right decision. We spend a lot of time testing whenever we have new firmware releases, because we really don't want bugs out in the production. It's an important decision. It of course takes more time in the development stages to make that happen, but maybe that time is well spent, because you won't have to test so thoroughly before new firmware releases. Now going into some considerations regarding business as a startup. When we came on the market, the product was new, but our business model was also new. We pursued a subscription-based business model, whereas the customers were used to buying the product. This was new, and honestly, our customers, it took much more effort than we expected to convince our customers that it was a good idea. On top of that, we wanted to grow fast, so we hired persons to sell the product before we actually sold it ourselves. As a startup, that was a mistake. We should have done it on our own first. Then when we knew what was working, then we could hire a person and instruct them how to do it. So that wasn't fair to them, and it was not a good idea. Another thing that we learned in that process is pricing. The subscription-based model, of course, everybody wants that, everybody likes that. In our case, we have a quite expensive lock, so of course that goes into the model as well. It means that growth costs money, and it also means that you can exercise, do a lot of exercise in Excel to see whatever works. Our experience, and I think a lot of persons will probably strongly disagree with me, but to my experience, you should of course have a good feeling with the price that you test out with your customers. But when you have that, then press that save and quit in Excel and test it out, because we've spent so much time in Excel trying to figure out what was the right price. And in the end, you know, it's better to you get so much more experience when you try to sell it, and then you will be much clever, and you will make the right decision at a later stage. So that's really one advice that I will give. Then one more advice regarding business as a startup, because if you're a startup, you probably don't have a production setup in place. We didn't. And we were, I mean, the last 2 years, 3 years, of course, has been very different to usual. But we spent so much time setting up our production, and I can only say you cannot overestimate how much effort is going into that task. So really, that's something that you need to take great care of. Okay, so that's some thoughts about Ambit Lager, and now I'd like to go to where we are today. Of course, when we started out selling the product, schools were closed, so that was really not an option for us. But hospitals, of course, were open, and they started adopting the product early on, and we have some good customers within that segment. In the last 6 months, schools and venues has also adopted the product. Even though it's been a little bit more slow than what we hoped from the beginning, we see that none of our existing customers have actually stopped using the product. So we are really happy with that and have great belief in the product. Currently, we're working on 2 new physical locks. So we are coming out with an outdoor version of this one, and we also have a built-in version for lockers. Which will be launched first is yet to be decided, but of course I'll invite you to subscribe to our LinkedIn channel, and then you will get all the information whenever needed. Okay guys, hope you're having a great conference, as I said in the beginning, and feel free to contact me. Stay safe. Thank you. Bye bye.